Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You're at the spot, the place, where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney. You're back at the spot, the place, where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. We're going to Colorado. Yes, Brains. Kim Cano is back from Hawaii. Now she's in Colorado. We're going to talk about her pet project, the Aloha Jigsaw Foundation, her books, Wise Marie, and also some other engaging conversations and mindset mastery, things that we want to incorporate in our life to make us bigger, to make us better, to reach our highest and greatest good. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you, Kim?
Good. Aloha. Nice to be here.
I'm so glad to have you back here on the show. So, how's the weather there in Colorado?
Oh, it's beautiful. Today is a great fall day. The leaves are changing. Some of the trees are red already. The ones I'm looking at now are yellow, but down the street, it's full red
Are you
everywhere.
a Broncos fan?
I'm not really a football fan because I've never quite understood the sport, but I do love the Broncos. I'm not gonna lie. And their training center is not that far from my house.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah.
tell our brains a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Well, for me, I am a previous felon. I was afraid to say it before, but I am now a founder and CEO of a few organizations that I have been running for years to date. And I went to put myself through college, rehab. And as I mentioned, I was once in a jail, a local jail in Hawaii. And I write about my life in order to help others, whether they're from Hawaii or anywhere in the world, whether they're male, female, or likewise. I hope that my stories bring entertainment along with uh, motivation and inspiration.
Well, you are definitely a winner. Brains, be ready for this because I'm going to go and I'm going to rerun her previous interview. And if you have not sat down, taken the time to listen to her story, she's got one heck of a story to tell of overcoming resilience and her ability to now pour into others because of those experiences. So we're going to
Yeah.
talk about that and a whole lot more.
And we want to work with people we're aligned with, right? And so the
Exactly.
new development, since I don't know what you knew about it before, but the goal was to have the Trade and Mindset Academy on the island of Maui in
Right.
honor of the youth who were affected by or who are affected by the Maui fires of 2023. So to be honest with you, we've hit stone walls with the government. I'm not throwing any branch of said government under the bus. I'm letting you know with between the residents, the programs, the other organizations on the ground, whether they're affiliated or not, it will be very expensive and challenging for our first course or session in the spring. So we've decided to buy property here in Colorado, a piece of land, put a barn dominium on it that will have residences and will be classified as, a place where my business partner and I, his family, my family can all go to. And we've decided to single out one group of people who want to work with us because it seems like you just have to go with what's working, right? With
Right.
the
So
intuition.
let's
So
dial
if I,
back a little bit though. Tell my brains a little bit about what the Jigsaw Aloha Jigsaw Foundation is. You just kind of gave it to us um, encapsulated a little bit, but expand upon that. Really, what is the goals and aspirations? What are you setting out to do?
we are looking to teach not only the children of Maui who were impacted by the fires, who do not have a house, a school, etc., right? Their life there. And we're also going to work with this organization that helps the autistic youth, right? They're on the spectrum, whether it's low, higher level. And we are going to work with groups of the youth from that organization they're already established here. and we're going to be teaching them what we want to in a controlled environment in the art, like you could say in the art arena. I don't want to give too much away because it'll be taking you into the weeds, but truly it is an organization to help the youth know how to build their own houses. I mean, think about it. What did they take out of public school and all schools recently? Wood shop,
Sure, yeah. I mean,
right?
well,
Construction,
any of
carpentry.
yeah, any of the domestics, plumbing, and these are very viable skills. A lot of people discredit them. They forget, they're looking into technology, but AI cannot put in a toilet.
No,
cannot
no, it
run
can't.
cannot run electrical lines. You need those electrical lines to house the electricity for the buildings, be they brick and mortar or virtual real estate.
Right.
You still need those skills to be able to work with your hands, to learn how to cook. You remember we had what was that? Home ed? You would cook
Home
and sew.
economics,
Yeah,
where they taught you how to sew and cook and all the basics so that not to be a housewife, because that was the negative stigmatism behind it was, oh, we're training people to just be housewives. It was for boys and girls. Remember, it was a classroom full of co-ed. I enjoyed the cooking. Obviously, I'm into culinary, right? I had a difficult time sewing, but they were clipping that out of school even then because they saw that certain people, were not aligned, and that should never be the reason. So long story short, with that whole arena is it is what has been missing. There's a lot of the youth, as we know, and this is no down to them. They may be smart on the computers, but like you said, they can't bang a hammer into the wall and know which, shall I use a nail? Shall I use a drywall anchor? They don't
right,
know anything about.
right,
I know more, and that's saying a lot, right?
right,
In that arena. And so we believe that weaving in mindset, right? All the mindset that I know and goal setting and everything that comes along with mindset, that all in of itself is what you need to get going. So that is the basis of the trade. I mean, the mindset academy, but we wove in trade because of that. Because my business partner and I sat down and he said, "What's missing right now in the world?" Like, look, and he pointed out some of his kids can do it, but one of my kids can't.
right,
Right? I mean, they just don't know, right? And
right.
it's no dig on the Generation Z, but it sure would be nice to teach them just a foundation, right? These foundational skills. And on Maui, there are people who did not have insurance to replace their homes. They were not part of the settlement, the $4 billion settlement that's going all around on the news and
Mm,
social media. Not every person received it, right? I mean, we know families who are living in tents on their properties. And we heard from the mayor's office, and this isn't to throw them under the bus, but there are construction companies and providers in the state of Hawaii accepting money in bids for roof trusses, yet they're not manufacturing or providing them. And no one's addressing the fact that there's a shortage of Douglas fir that's coming from the West Coast. Well, you and I both know that you don't need Douglas fir. That's not the only type of wood. It may be cheaper, but people from the LA fires are taking it first. And it is what it is. I mean,
right.
if you have a choice to ship it over the water, or you ship it across another state into California and truck it
And,
to where it needs to, you know what I mean?
and then
So
and then you have all these import
tariffs, with all the tariffs and all and everything else, and things are getting stuck at the dock, right? So there is no there has been only 40 something houses rebuilt since 2023, and a huge
oh,
part
come
of the
on.
problem. Oh
Really?
yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you going to also be, what? This is something that's on my life list is that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really want to work with young women in disenfranchised countries to teach them solar installation,
Oh, okay.
mathematics, the skills, the engineering aspect, all of that, and renewable sustainable energy. Somewhere
Right.
like Maui, where the sun is shining all the time, you got to harness that energy. You really do.
The issue in Hawaii truly though is the permitting, right? Your build will get jacked up unlike any other county. In and they have multiple in Hawaii, right? And so it's a small community and it's being run the way it is. And I stay away from discussing religion and politics, as you know, but just look at the production of it all. So the point of the Aloha Jigsaw is to empower a student to choose what they would really want to do in what we would offer them, which is a very wide variety of subjects. So not only is it construction and all legs of construction, all the way up to welding and everything else, okay? It's real estate, because that's something in my toolbox that I can easily teach and gladly teach and help people avoid making those pitfall mistakes when you're a new homeowner or buyer and you don't understand. I want to teach people, even if it takes you a little bit longer, and it shouldn't if you know how to cut through the chase. I'm still, and this isn't any down if one of my realtors sees this video online, I do all the work. I do all the work for every transaction that I've ever been in, even though they get the commission. Why? Because I know what I want, I know what I need, and I look at everything, and sometimes I catch things that they do not. And if I need any building advice, then I just go to my contractor who is separate from the transaction or maybe part of it, right? And so I just believe that empowering people without having to fear, because real estate school is difficult. And if you have ADHD like me, you're going to get afraid when you get to the math part if you're not good at math. And I decided not to take the test because of a lot of reasons. And I used my grandson dying as an excuse. But truly, I was probably afraid to fail, even though, because why would I go all the way to fingerprinting? And then when I realized, oh my gosh, that many questions are math,
Right.
and do I really want to be, an open house kind of a gal, right? So I want to teach those simple baseline, just if you want to become a realtor, just think about all these things first, because you could be a developer. You could be a
Right.
project manager, right? There's all these, so it goes really deep, and we want to start off small. And because we're not getting the backing and the donations and grants that we had hoped, we do have one investor who wants to invest, so that could change everything. But truly, we want to get the structure up so that we can accept the acquisition donations, the acquired lumber and other types of like Milwaukee toolboxes
Right.
that we're going to give the kids for the classes, and workbooks from, a Target or whatever, right? So
Right.
anyway,
That's a
that's what
lot.
the Aloha Jigsaw is all about. Is it's self-funded as of now. We've only received a couple of donations, and most of it comes from my partner, James, and I.
Okay. Well, it's got to start somewhere,
That's right.
and you've planted the seed, and this is something that is needed, that is rejuvenating
Yeah,
juices and
absolutely.
flowing, because again, like I said, these trades are a lost skill. They're a lost art.
They are.
Carpeting, drywall, tile. They'll need to do all of those things, and then what they can do is they can take what they learn back to their prospective community. Now,
Right.
would you is the plan? I know again it's still in the developmental stage, but is the plan to have the kids, the youth come from Hawaii here, go to school, live here for a minute, and then go back?
So what you see on the website might be contradicting if people go and look right at this moment, just because we haven't updated the latest, because we haven't pulled the trigger on a piece of land. We have one piece of land in mind, and we're hopeful that today we hear back about the use of the land and if it'll work, right? We have to drill a well and we have to put a septic in. So it's a bit to go, but we can have it done quickly because my partner and I work like that, right? With construction, we can see it in our mind and build it, right? So we will see if it comes to fruition. And if so, then I would love to bring these kids from Maui who they must, so you can't just come, and we're not just going to pick names out of a hat. The selection process, as it states on our website, is you must submit the 7 sentence or 7 line poem. Okay, it's a poem and an essay. It's a 250 word essay of how the Maui fires impacted you and your family, you personally, and you and your family. And you have to write both an essay and a poem. And we do not want to see Chat GPT. If you want to handwrite it, I mean, all of that longhand is perfectly fine, but we want it in their own words. I've even donated money to a girl who sings on a corner on a wall right now. I've given her $100 today, and she is currently writing a song about this in honor of the Aloha Jigsaw Foundation. and she is happy that she can express her. She's not, she doesn't hang out with kids anymore. She sings and gets tips every day. That's her life ever since
Wow.
the fires. And her father passed away right before the fires. So this girl has been hit with, she's just one example, right? And so we're hoping to touch kids like that, bring them to Colorado so that they can experience the snow and the four seasons in the continental US. So it goes real deep with these kids. Like you know, the parents are going to have to accompany them, obviously, right? I mean, who's going to send a young, right? So we're hopeful that even the parents get to experience something that they never thought that they would. And we would like to raise the funds to pay for their airfare and accommodations. And we partner with local people here, in the travel industry so that, I'm a hustler. So I can call United, right to United. I mean, Hawaiian Airlines, Miles, right? Southwest, to get everybody over here with acquired items. And then we give the parents a nice swag bag as a token of our appreciation and what we hustle, because we're going to hustle things, right?
Right.
And the student gets a backpack and that's filled with all kinds of things and they can take it. So it's not going to be a long-term type of school yet, because it's just, it'd be tough for someone from Hawaii who would be in the public school system. So we've
Right.
lined it up with the once a quarter in the year with the school breaks of public schools.
Oh,
We
okay.
can't satisfy all schools because private and whatever, but it would probably be the public school system kids who, some of them don't even go to school anymore just because the school burned down and now they're being homeschooled and they got moved to another city. There's all these underlying factors. So of course we're gonna hustle snowboards. If we get this property that's uh near the I-70, we'll be able to be by Loveland Pass. The parents can go to the Silverthorne outlets. Say no more, right? All the,
Right.
dining and eating places while the kids are in like our academy, and the parents can go off and do things too. I mean, it's just, we're excited about this because this is what we want to do with the rest of our lives.
Well, you're doing
So,
beautiful things, and it all started back from your trials and tribulations, in case brains don't remember. Tell them a little bit about that, and also tell them a little bit about your writing, the Wise
okay.
Marie series.
Right, right. So I am the author, Natasha Brune. That's my pen name. And I write about the Wise Marie, a character in the collection, Both Children. We also, since I've last spoken with you, and you'll see it online soon, is a young adult book that we chose to put as young adult because of the direction that it went in. And it's going to have illustrations just like a children's book, but it is once again a young adult book, and we are not going to classify that in the children's category. The name is Elentra, simple, plain Elentra. It's a character that's in the story that is based on two real people, and essentially how even the darkest of people, I'll just say that, were once light. So it goes along with the whole vibe of the Wise Marie collection. So the children's stories are before Marie gets dark. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Marie gets dark, and you see this, and we touch upon subjects that are very sensitive with death and poverty and other types of just topics that you usually don't see, I would think, maybe in your typical or maybe books back when we were younger, right? Like I think the raciest thing I remember when I was young was Judy Blume.
I know,
She
me
was the
too.
race. That's it. Judy Blume was like, oh my God, it's for us right back then. And so this isn't going to be something like a Judy Blume. This is true events, but they've been fictionalized, and other types of, like, there's a little fantasy thrown in there just so that it can be, exciting and entertaining,
Right.
right? And then I write about the Wise Marie. So I just won an award. I'm very honored by the International Impact Book Awards. I'm accepted and go to a gala, black tie gala that they have. And then once you win in any category of their awards, you are allowed to go to this is the first time that they've held it there, but where they have the Oscars, the Academy Awards,
Oh, okay.
they're renting is it the Dolby Theater, I think?
Dolby Theater in Hollywood.
Yep. Yep. So the owner of the International Impact I just found this out yesterday. she's renting for their Hollywood annual of all authors who have won in all categories. And so
Wow.
next year, I know I'm excited because next year I'll be able to. And the reason why she's having it there is because she wants you to feel empowered and, like, hey, you wrote all of this, you legitimately won this, we ran it through our system, and this is for you. And then make it fancy so you feel like you someone would feel if they won an Oscar. So
Absolutely. Well, and it's
um
all about the feeling.
yeah,
You get in your feelings, and that's a good
absolutely.
thing. And that's what
Yep.
a lot of people are extracted from.
Yep.
And they're extracted from their emotion and responsibility. We have a responsibility to nurture one another. We are
Yep.
being turned down or the kids say turned up at every juncture, at
Yep.
every intersection of conversation, relationships, our health, our finances, even our ability to travel, to move from
Yes.
one place to another.
Right.
And all the trickery and bamboozlery with trying to get, like you say, permits. Come on. It should be seamless. They should waive fees and everything. The whole island was destroyed. That is what Hawaii is about family and community. It's not about agriculture or technology or major industry. It's about,
No,
breaking loose.
you're absolutely right. And I'm hoping to touch people through keynote speaking, whether they're paid or unpaid gigs, with my story. And so the Wise Marie, yes, it's me for some of your audience who may not know, but really I've created a workbook because the LA Tribune from the other award, they said, listen, it'd be great if you created a workbook to go along with this volume. So instead of just having one workbook go along with volume one, we're going to have a workbook support each novel or volume that comes out. Okay, so there's two more that are coming out, right? One of the ancestors, and it's a workbook so that you can see how did this person navigate through life and end up where she's at, right? At each step of the way, because that's what scientifically their analytical report told me. They sent it to me, right, when I won the award and said, you should seriously consider this. And at the time I had just had a lot going on. And so, and I mean, when do I not?
Right. They're
But
all
at the end of the day, I'm very excited that that character just continues to live on. There's so much storytelling there. Like I just, I can write about, I just have to be in the right mood for it. And then I also decided to expound on the career books, and I'll either give those away at events, or if people sign up for any kind of like business coaching with that, I weave in with, the mindset training. So truly I'm looking to do these keynote gigs, not to become famous or anything else, but to reach the masses, because that's the way that it'll happen. Whether it's at a real estate seminar and I weave my story of Wise Marie in, whether it's, at a prison where I go and speak with women in prison who are down on their luck, whether they're guilty or not, they still want to. Where did I come? I was in prison, right? Where, I mean, they want to change too, right? And so I'm looking forward to that chapter because it's here and it's all up to me. I'm my only solution and only problem.
right.
So right now I'm just working on, as I mentioned, consistency is something where I want to be consistent and not be so rocky with, I've been great in the last several months since I have not gone back to Hawaii, by the way, since May.
No, since you sold the property there, you haven't been back.
And my poor son's in the middle of it, but he was in that family and born in that family. So there is a huge event coming up, as you know, this surf contest. Every year it doesn't happen unless the Bay calls the day, as they say, right? So it's been called the last couple of years, which is weird because it doesn't happen. It only comes like every 5 to 7 years, if that.
Mm.
And so this year, we'll see what happens because they're planning on scattering, not to blurt it out there, but it's the truth. Clyde's ashes are going to be scattered. You need a permit for that, by the way. They made them get a
Oh
permit.
yeah, absolutely. And what are they going to do with it? That's what I wondered. You get a permit. It's going back to its natural origin, back to the earth. Okay, it may, have some chemicals in it because the body has been cremated, but it can be no worse than the toxicity that they're putting in there anyway. I I I don't know. I don't know.
And that family, the Heva Heva is they've had images of him show up in the water that people have seen, it, that Aikau family, the surf family, Eddie, Clyde, Zane, Ha'a, they were the surfers of the family, or are the surfers of the family. And it goes back to Heva Heva, okay, who is this Hawaiian god that surfed, in Waimea and governs that whole bay. And so it's family, and it's going back out to sea, and we'll just see if the bay calls the day. I just saw the announcement on Instagram that they're going to have I mean, every year they call it, they don't call it, but it goes into the, is it green? Is it yellow? Is it red? Right? The different colors that say that it's going to go. And you literally have.
So explain that to my guests. Pretty much, we're talking surf talk about
Yep.
waves and
Yep.
the
Waimea Bay on the island of Oahu.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. So Waimea Bay is known to have these monstrous waves, and it's not for the faint-hearted. And if you Google online and look at, injuries, you'll see my son's he's sponsored by one of these guys, and he cut his hand right open with the fin. He had the EMT sew him open. This is not Mark Healy, is another surfer, professional surfer, broke his eardrum in the last. You could see him falling over. I mean, the waves are massive, right? They go anywhere from, I believe they have to be over, is it 25 or 30 feet in order to call the base. So what happens is it's pretty magical because much of it is manual. It's people like Pat Caldwell. There's a guy who watches these waves, okay, and he has a surf network, and he can forecast and tell you, is it going to happen or not? So once the storms and the waves, so if there's any tsunami, uh, hurricane, any kind of storm that brings in that swell. So a storm system, yes, it's bad, but then it also is good for the surfers. They like it as long as it doesn't bring in that choppy, whitewashy, right? So these waves are, if you imagine what a coconut tree looks like, or the height of one, if you're standing at the bottom on the beach, that's about how tall one of the smaller waves are. And
Wow.
then if you look at a wave that's a coconut tree that's 80 feet, they can be that tall too. And 100 feet, they usually don't hold it if it's too big. Last year it was pretty big, and Clyde said, no, it's going. I mean, he was there. That was his last event. He got to see his son surf in it. And so it was wild. It was my first time seeing it in person. And
I went and it was the surf competition there in Hawaii. It was last, I guess it was this, let's see, October. Wow. Been a year? Woo, where does time go?
I
And
know.
it was incredible. And to see the chicks ride the waves, I was like, what? Are you a surfer?
I'm a paddle boarder.
Okay.
So surfing is a craft that really takes ovaries and balls. I mean, it just does, right? Not that other sports don't. I've water skied. I like that too, but my shoulders, is messed up. So paddleboarding is very sturdy for me, and I don't do paddleboarding over waves because that's not zenning to me. So I like the glassy water. I'll take a little ripple is fine because then that can, it helps with your core, and I can paddle canoe, but not surf. Surf is he'inalu, that's what they say, and that's what it's called in Hawaiian. And I mean, I don't even care if it's a small wave. I mean, it just takes balance, right? It takes
Yeah,
courage,
it
balance, and
takes,
craft.
girl, it takes
So
courage. I have been caught in a couple riptides, and people will always tell you, brains, remember this. Do not turn your back to the ocean. Don't think, oh, I'm gonna take a quick picture. It will snatch you up. Baby, I go out there, I grab me some shells, I get my feet wet.
oh, I love shell picking.
And
That's
then
like
other
my
than that,
favorite.
that's it. So what would you say to the people of Maui that need encouragement? Give them some words of encouragement to keep them going, to keep their head up, because it's tough. They're not used to this. This is not the lifestyle. They're not used to all of this legislative rules and paying all these fees and all that. They're just used to hanging loose.
They are, and it's becoming so rigid there, not only on Maui, but I believe there's a tax that they all have to pay now. If you're,
Wow.
maybe I'm paying it too. I own a business, so maybe that gets slipped into my taxes too. But at the end of the day, What do I have to say? I'd say for the youth, right now, it's time to channel and watch movies like Stand By Me and other types of older movies of navigation and survival. And I'd say that kid who sailed to Hawaii, Oliver with the cat,
Oh, yeah.
remember that guy? So I'd say to have that mindset and attitude so that you are not fearful no matter what anyone is telling you. Because in Hawaii, when you're brought up by people there, you are raised, it just is, and it's not a downer. I love that place. You know that. You're raised with a lot of paradigms and habits that hold us back from being ambitious. A lot of parents in Hawaii and family want to keep you just so protected and that helicopter mom and dad and stay on this island where it's safer because when you go to the mainland, it's evil. And sure, there's a lot of evil here, but there's a lot of success and a lot of room for growth. And I'd say that if people have vacant pieces of land, why sleep on a tent with it? Clean it up, get a guy to clean it up like once every so many months so you're not being fined by the government because the government is fining people who aren't taking care of their burnt property because they weren't able to rebuild because they don't have the money. So now they're getting fines on top of losing their home and not having insurance. I'll just throw that out there. I don't know how they can be doing that, but I'd have someone move to the mainland, a family, and make your life someplace else. I think it'd be great for the kids to get better education because the public school education there sucks, and experience a life outside of Hawaii and then return and rebuild your property with your success that you can have and make on the mainland, as they call it from Hawaii, right? The mainland, right? The US mainland. And I mean, that's what we did. We left and I was afraid to leave. And I am so happy that I left. And my mom lives with me. I mean, she would never go back full time. She's like, oh my gosh, I just can't even imagine with the price of. She goes back now and she's like this in the grocery store, look, and I just grab what we need, and I even catch myself not buying the organic when I'm there because is it going to kill me to eat that one time? Not because
Right.
I don't even,
I went to Aruba. I didn't go back to Hawaii. I went to Aruba this time. And I
ooh,
was like, wow, similar type of touristy environment,
mm,
uh, low agriculture,
mm,
they're not building anything, but the dollar went a lot further than Hawaii. And I think
okay.
because Hawaii has that name attached to it, that allure attached to it, that they are taxing them unbelievably.
I mean, how much was a meal? Let me ask you, just so I can hear it and know, because I
Uh,
go out to eat all the time. My son loves to go out to eat in
yeah,
Hawaii.
we go out to dinner and we say like for the four of us, pay
Okay.
a buck and a quarter,
Wow.
25.
With tip or without?
With or with and cocktail or not, that would be the contributing factor, but
Okay.
I would say without a drink and the tip, yeah, about 125.
Okay. That's great for four people.
Yeah.
You're paying that for two, even at a low end place in Hawaii these days. It's tough. It's become Vegas all times 1,000. It's sad. I mean, you see the locals shop like they have these $5 Fridays at this one Safeway or Safeways in Hawaii, and a
Mm-mm.
lot of the surfers go on that day, and you see them all like we go there too, right? And you see them all there because it's tough, right? I mean, tourism is down. I don't know if
Oh,
you
oh, of
saw the clip
course.
about the Polynesian Cultural Center. They're laying off, I think, oh, I get chicken skin, 50% of their employees again.
Wow.
And a lot of them are students who go to BYU and rely on that income to go to school and to live. So
Well,
what's going to happen
again,
there,
it
right?
and tourism, I went to Ireland, Scotland, and London, and they confiscated my passport.
Wait, what? Why?
I, can't even justify what they were saying. But long story
Interesting.
short is that the government needed to come aboard the ship. They needed to check our credentials, but they had my passport for 14 days, Kim. And so the world at large, and if you say anything off color or inappropriate, you may not be able to re-enter the United States. So we have to be very careful about what we do. We have to be very strategic. We have to be smart, but we can't live in a bubble. We absolutely cannot live in a bubble, and we cannot be afraid. When fear is instilled in you, it derails you. You cannot
Right.
stay focused on your goal because now you're distracted. So you have to be able to, again, like a surfer, navigate the waves, navigate the storm. You will overcome. The waters will calm eventually. Stay in your lane, do what you got to do. Continue to have hope, faith, pray, take care of your brothers and sisters like you have done. You've dedicated your life after all you've been through. I would have just had me one of those beachfront properties like you've had many and said the hell with everybody else and sat there with my two little dogs that you got laying on the couch back there, living my best life. But instead, you said, no, I'm going to still be a soldier in this war. I'm going to still fight, and I'm going to fight the good fight, and you will win. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you, how to purchase a copy of The Wise Marie, and also how to donate. Brains, you got to pay it forward. You have to pay it forward, and a little becomes
Thank you.
much. If each one of us listening to this donated $20, look what they did during the elections, $5, $10. They raised massive amounts of money. And that's what it takes. It takes money to build these facilities, to get the families there, to feed them, to house them, to clothe them, but also to let them know that somebody cares about them because people want to be seen. They
They
want to
do.
be seen right now.
They
And
do.
again, I give you your flowers, Kim, because again, you're doing the most. You're doing the most, and you're doing it with your heads up. And you call people out. I don't have a problem with you calling people out, but you gotta tell the truth and shame the devil. You know, you can.
I'll be honest, I have been taken advantage of because I did not go with my intuition on making a couple of business decisions. And instead of folding and allowing the company to make me feel intimidated, like I can't get my money back, I fought recently because that means they're doing it to other people. And I'm just gonna say this: you have to fight the good fight, and you have to stand up for what you believe in. Not to the point where you're making enemies and but you have to. Uh, when I went to real estate school, the first thing that instructor said was, "You understand why you're in this class, right?" And everybody just sat there and they said, "Oh, to learn this." And I said, "I bet it's something to satisfy and comply with the government." And he goes, "Bingo. We're here to protect the public. And you should be doing that anyway. So if you know of anything that could be harmful to someone, we are all allowed freedom of speech, and you go ahead and help." And that's what I do. Why not? Right? I'm not going to go around and spread other things, but at the end of the day, if you're running a business, you're ethical, you shouldn't be afraid to say anything. And I'm not. I am unafraid because I know what I do. And you hit the nail on the head. I don't have to be doing any of this. My husband told me, "You realize that you don't even need to get a part-time job. Like now that we got rid of the rental properties, and even though we have to pay this and that," and he's like, I want to do this. I want to do this because I believe it makes a difference, even a small one, you
Right,
know?
right.
And it really truly does. And my heart is in it, and that's what matters, right? And so um there is a lot going on in my world, but it's all voluntary, right? Nobody has a gun to my head telling me that I need to do this. And I'm just being a little more strategic about how I select those who I work with
Right,
and those who help me,
right.
especially in, even in the marketing arena. So should I have hired a PR person who has expertise? Yeah, well, but they're expensive too, right? And right now I'm budgeting, right? I'm an entrepreneur, I'm budgeting. And why can't I do it myself? So I have chosen what I wish to be on and who I wish to speak to because I have the freedom. I'm a free agent. I have the freedom to do so. So why not? So that's really, I'm going to end the fall with the Eric F. King show. No, with the Impact Awards, that gala. And that's I'm going to enjoy the holidays, have my shoulder surgery, and then rock and roll come 2026, get back in the shape that I need to be in for, all of that, and then continue with, everything going on in my world.
Well, you're doing great things. Tell my people how to get in contact with you.
Oh, easily you could go to thewisemarie.com and just fill out the form there. It's the easiest website out of all of them, wisemarie.com. And one of us will get it. And find us on socials because we love We love engaging people on socials. I actually met someone who was on your show before, and she was in another mindset class of ours, Luann Hun,
Yeah, absolutely.
and we're connected now. I love it.
I'm telling you, this is the fiber of our life right here on the edge. Brains, going and get connected with the right people because I check their pulse and I gauge their frequency. And if it's that low vibration, I'm gonna try to help you raise it. But if you're not there, we going right on past you, baby. Because there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I don't have time to go from cradle to grave. I need
I
somebody
know.
that is right there, that is in that mindset mastery, that is in that quantum physics arena, that wants that energy, that wants things to change. We are in a lunar vortex. We are about to change civilization as we know it, and you better get on board or you're going to get left behind. Okay.
Yeah.
And that could be a surfboard, any kind of board. So thank you so much, Kim, for being here on the edge with me. I adore you. I love when you come here. You have um, such a way of telling your stories and but getting the word out, and I appreciate that. Okay.
Appreciate you.
All
Thank you
right.
so much. Mahalo.
Mahalo.